Hey everybody, I'm Scotty.
And I'm Stevie.
And I'm Magna.
And here we are for the December episode edition version
Thing.
of our Tea and Tarot videocast podio thing. Welcome. We're coming to you from Books, Beans, and Candles right here in Birmingham, Alabama. We will not be having a December in-person Tea and Tarot event, but wait. We will be having a special visit on December the 6th from...
10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
But who's coming?
Krampus.
Krampus! Photo opportunities. You can find more information about that on the shop website as well as all of the social medias. And we will be having our usual, at least I think, typically every month on the third Friday at 6 p.m. we have Sips and Stars. It's an interactive astrology event. And typically on the fourth Monday at 6 p.m. we have Magic City Pagans, which is a different discussion topic each month.
Yeah.
So in this month last month we did the Death card. And the one that comes right after that, number 14 after the Death card, is Temperance.
Temperance.
Yeah.
And this is the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card here, and we see sort of,
Transition it.
Oh, transition it. Hey, there it is. My brain has two speeds. They're both off.
Do you say you need to find balance?
Balance would be a good way to look at this. In this traditional card, we have sort of a angel-y kind of personages, and they're standing 1 foot on the ground, 1 foot in the water. Mm-hmm. That's that sort of physical world, spiritual world kind of thing, being in that liminal space in between. But another thing about this card that I've always found interesting is that it is very much an alchemical kind of thing. If we were to look at this in what would be considered a 4-stage version of alchemy, this is the citronatus, the yellowing stage. And it's that clarity and that transformational aspect of things.
It's another really crunchy card. Like Death card has like a lot of imagery to it. As does Temperance. You can see all the alchemical like symbology of it. You also have, I believe it's fire on like the chest. I think it's the sun right there on the forehead, as well as like a lot of the colorations as well. And
we have this crown at the end of the road, and that's from the Kabbalah. That represents Kether. That's the very tippy top of the tree of life. And the irises there, probably included by Pamela Coleman Smith on purpose. Iris was the goddess of the rainbow, and she was seen as a messenger. So we have that messenger aspect as well. This card here is yours, speaking of alchemically kind of stuff.
Yeah. So for a really long time I struggled with like the meaning of temperance, because like I think of alcohol prohibition in the US. So with this one, with the slow holler, I really liked that idea of here's a very visual and like title representation of something that I think harkens to the actual meaning of the card. And also it's associated with Sagittarius, therefore with like Jupiter. So you have like this really nice expansive element that's kind of like very creation focused, meaning after the death and the kind of ending of in the Death card. So it's a really nice kind of like, here we can see the stages of both alchemy, but also kind of what comes afterwards. Instead of, people tend to view like death as like the big vacuum, so it's like, no, look, there's other stuff that happens here. There's that transformational thing, this expansive thing, this Jupiterian thing.
And this one here is from your deck, Magna?
Mm-hmm. Yep, so this is from the Fyodor Pavlov tarot deck, and Temperance, much like how in the Death card from this deck, where it's that acceptance of change, it is that I am going through this as smoothly as possible. Here we see our angelic figure who is very content with the path that he is on. You still have a lot of that transformative elements with the water and land and sea and everything here, but there is just a lot of contentment in the angel's face. He has been on this journey and has come out better on the other side and has figured out how to keep that work-life balance, love and friendship, platonic, romantic, everything kind of encapsulated into one being.
The element of balance is really there as well. And pretty much most of them, there's kind of some sort of duality or some sort of like balancing of whatever, in a way that has more of that manifestation element of like we have to balance the equation essentially, as opposed to something like justice where it's scales or whatever. There is very much that creation, like we gotta measure it all out for us.
And this card here is from the Urban Tarot by Robin Scott, and I think this is probably the most beautiful piece of tarot art in any deck that I've ever seen. I really love this, and I like the fact that the artist included the Rider-Waite-Smith card in this. And this Urban Tarot is very much a Crowley style deck, a Toth style deck. But I love that she has her own wings. She has her own transformational process, and maybe doing her art is what provides her personal transformation, which is the purpose of art for a lot of folks. It allows us to delve into not only our own inner self, our own inner nature, but to connect to our species as a whole, what it is to be a human. And that's why Crowley entitled this art. Alchemy could be considered an art. And
I like the connection to a skill as well. Like there is very much that, like, because some of the other tarot cards, there's maybe like an innateness to them, where a skill, like art is a skill you must hone. Like you can be artistically inclined, but it isn't, contrary to popular belief, it's not something you just do and are good at. There is a certain like learning curve, there's a certain like aptitude you have to really train to get good at. While some people might be more inclined to it, there is very much that you got to apply yourself. So like having that tie into the kind of Jupiterian astrological vibe of that is really, it's good.
What I've always liked about this card from the Urban Tarot, before I even owned this deck, the first time I ever saw it was on the cover of Queering the Tarot by Cassandra Snow, because like as a queer individual myself, a lot of themes in your traditional tarot deck are very heteronormative in a lot of ways. And so having that as the cover for that book made me go, wait a second. What is this? And it helped me develop a system to really put my own story, my own feelings, my own thoughts behind the tarot that typically goes away from the norm. So I really, really appreciate that card.
And speaking of things going away from the norm, here from the Pulp Tarot, we see a lot of angel lore. The angels themselves are genderless. But in some in some cases they're presented as biologically male, biologically female. But this one, straight up, part man, part woman, all angel.
I never saw that tagline until just now.
1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. This deck is designed to be like the covers of pulp magazines and pulp movie posters and things like that from the 40s, 50s, 30s, whatever. But I like that it brings all of those things in together. Because the way that I see it is spiritually speaking, we are all of the things. Whatever those things are. And no matter how we identify or present, we do have components. Because the spirit itself is a non-biological entity. But so I like that it shows this, and we get, there's the crown that shows up in the Rider-Waite-Smith. So we end up with a lot of those things going on, but I really love that it's, part man, part woman, all angel. And here, for something completely different, from the Wildwood Tarot, they call the card balance. So we have that idea of balancing things. And in this, we see the two horned snake things. That's a transformative thing. It also brings in that very much that caduceus vibe to it. Now, the red symbolizes fire. The blue symbolizes water. So we have fire and water working together. And it's the rising of the spirit. Birch is very much about rebirth and transformation. And that's the tree in the center. And then down here, We have a little mask, and that's like the mask that we put over our soul.
Mm.
We may present this, but the soul itself can transform out from that. So it has very much that the Kundalini rising aspect of things, but it's all about being balanced.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the two snakes.
I also like in this deck because you have Temperance as balance, or kind of as finding that harmony, and then like, at least because I'm a little bit further back and also have bad eyesight, the birch tree also kind of looks like the tower, because it kind of has like that texture, at least from a distance, of like bricks almost.
Yeah.
So there's kind of that vibe of like, we're getting in balance, and then being like, oh, no balance. Noted. And that readiness to transform it, and kind of tying back into the alchemical vibe, even though this is not a super alchemical deck in this particular case, or alchemical card in this case. But that kind of, it will be fixed. However it needs to be fixed or transformed is kind of interesting, but also a little funny.
So that's the Temperance card. Yay!
Yay!
And Magna, I think you've got a little spread for us, I do believe.
Yes. So, for those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, I have been doing a runic journey using the Elder Futhark runes, combining with the tarot. Now, the spread that I got for this month is the rune of Kanaz, which is the torch that helps guide us along our way. Originally, I had thought about doing this a couple months ago for October, for Samhain and everything, thinking of concepts of Hecate's torch leading you through the Underdark and everything like that. I can't believe I just said Underdark.
The Underdark.
D&D nerd.
Nerd.
Oops.
The Underworld?
Yeah, the Underworld, thank you. But I thought about it more as a really good one for the month of December, because with Yule coming up, the darkest days of the year,
Right.
We're trying to find a way to get through this darkness. So this is a simple 4-card spread. I'm going to get it in the shape of the rune as best I can on camera. Ding, ding, ding. Little. That'll work.
Gas
Yay, Kanos. And so, simple little 4-card spread. We start with position number 1 here, which is the darkness that we're currently in. What horrible things are we kind of going through? Where is our mind at this point in life? Card number 2 is the torch that guides us through all of that darkness. Because we kind of need to navigate those waters as the Queen of Cups. Card number 3 here is the spark, or the kindling that helps keep that torch aflame so that we can get through to the other side. And then card number 4 here is the end of the darkness. What does it look like when we finally reach the light of the new year?
You need one of those winter sun lamps. That's what it looks like at a glance.
Yeah. So we got the darkness that we're currently in. The Queen of Cups.
Girl, your mommy issues. But with the Queen of Cups, I think especially it's just kind of like, we expect to be the one who either takes care of, or who is like the chill friend or the chill person in the relationship, the one who has their shit together, the one who can like be the guiding hand when it comes to emotional matters. Are you good though? Like,
right.
You can't be someone's, source of comfort or stability or whatever, right? When you yourself are just like screaming and dying and also throwing up.
Well, and I think it's interesting, and I don't know if it shows up in the other cards, but she looks to be a little bit pregnant.
She is the only one. If I remember correctly, she is the only one in the deck that's pregnant.
Yep.
And in a lot of decks, it's either going to be the Empress or the Queen of Pence that shows up as a pregnant person.
Yep.
So I think it's interesting here that I'm not sure what I make of that. I'd have to really think about it. But I think it's interesting that that's a part of this.
Yes.
That growth, new life, bringing new things into the world. So another, you got to take care of you to take care of anybody else kind of vibe.
Yeah. You can't be the proverbial mom friend if you are not well.
And so, what was this position again, Magna?
So card number 2 here is the torch that helps guide us through this darkness here. And so the torch that is going to help guide us is, the Page of Cups. We got to kind of go back to learn, almost like a student, where we need to figure out exactly how to manage those emotions, so that way we can keep enough stuff for ourselves and still be able to provide for others when the time comes.
Yeah.
Well, she's very artsy fartsy. She's got the palette and the brushes, which is very much a way that I see the Page of Cups as very artistic. We have that the energy of the pages, which I often associate with fire. But it's a very active, very youthful kind of energy that is brought to that art. So the thing that can help us get through, maybe the thing we need to take care of ourselves, is to touch an aspect of art.
Right.
Whether it's going and viewing art, making art, whether that art is literature or music or weird math problems.
Yeah.
Because some people do math.
Sure. But is it at least like an outlet?
Yeah.
I think also too, it's not that you're like regressing, like you're not becoming like Boo Boo the fool teenager or whatever. But I think that transformational element of like, I'm gonna be this responsible person, to like, girl, you gotta chill the fuck out and do something that is not so burdened with responsibility, especially responsibility that no one maybe asked you to pick up. And then also on top of it too, there's an element to the pages where I think there's kind of like that lackadaisical element as well. Whereas here, like if you're going to continue like the art allegory for the sake of, continuity, whereas the Queen of Cups here kind of has that vibe of like, I am not producing art, or I'm not producing this thing like I am supposed to. Whereas here she's like, that's ugly, hee hee, but it was funny, or it was enjoyable, the process was enjoyable. So kind of, I think, lightening up in that regard of just your expectations of what X must be.
And I've had readings where, the Page of Cups showed up in such a way when it's like, look, on your way home, go to the Dollar Tree, buy yourself a coloring book and a cheap box of crayons, and you go home and color.
Yeah.
And color like a kid. Don't color like an adult trying to color. Don't get one of those adult coloring books. Get you one of those the stupid little kid coloring books, and you color. Because sometimes touching that child within ourselves, getting back in touch with that, is something that can kind of de-stress us as well.
I feel like too, taking that step back from the like stern motherly aspect of the Queen of Cups and getting back to a more like not really simplistic but more rounded element kind of leads into the kindling that we got going on here with the Five of Swords, where we're kind of setting up healthy boundaries. We have our fighter here who has clearly won. Friends leading him off like, all right, let's go. You proved yourself. But now it's time to, like, in my opinion, reap the harvest that you've sown. You've gone through battle. You've set up boundaries. Time to take on the benefits of, like, where that has led you. Now you have the time needed to actually, like, heal with the mind and take care of your own business, so you don't have to really not care, but take care of other people first,
And also moving from like the emotional realm, which is important, but we've kind of moved from like the intrinsically like introspective end of things into something that's a little more action and outward oriented with the swords. At least ideally with the swords.
Yeah.
Please put the swords out. If they don't fester and stab you to death from the inside.
And the number 5 associated Kabbalistically with Gebura, or Gevura, however you pronounce it. Which is often associated with strife or struggle, but it's also called strength. And another way of looking at this story might be, it's not that he just kicked everybody's butt.
Yeah.
But maybe those are his buddies, and he's giving them an opportunity to escape. He's the one standing up to the opponent and providing the strength for them to be able to go. So that rekindling of things, if we look at it not as a strife thing, which we often see in the fives, but as a strength thing, is to sort of stick to it. Stick to the point.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
See that? Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
The sword's got points.
It's What's the last card, Magna?
So we get through all that, and then we get to card number 4 here, the end of the darkness. We've gone through this journey now. What's the other side look at? And we have the 10 of Wands in reverse. Healing is never a one and done type thing. You know, you may have to reassert yourself and take those breaks every once in a while. Now's not the time to put the wands away. You got to keep going.
Yeah, and then I think too, being a little bit more selective about which wands you're either picking up or dealing with as well.
Yeah.
Especially because again, we're not trying to circle back around to like our first, you know, that we don't want to immediately pick up all the stuff and then like I feel like shit again. Like having to be, I think, very pragmatic and really antithesis to like the wands and kind of like the rapid like excitement or movement or whatever. Having to take it a little bit slower, having to be very frank with yourself about what we can do right now.
I get a different kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I'm reading this as a reversed card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with that 10 of Wands reversed, if we think of that, especially going with the light in the darkness
Mm-hmm.
kind of vibe, the 10 of Wands upright would be I'm collecting all of the firewood. I'm pulling all of that fuel together.
Yeah.
The reversed card, here we are with the thing that I'm going to light up to shine forward. I'm putting the firewood down. And so it feels like a positive end. We've done this work, we've set our boundaries, we've been a little whimsical to allow ourselves some taking care of ourselves and some self-care. And now it's time for a nice campfire and some marshmallows. And it's interesting to see, you know, how in some cases we all end up with sort of the same interpretation,
Mm-hmm.
and at other times we see the story slightly differently. And that's the way it is when you're reading for yourselves. One day the card may feel like this, or in this spread it may have this context today. Tomorrow it may be a different context. So it's not really a static kind of thing, and that's where the art of reading tarot comes from, is being able to feel that movement.
Yeah.
And how, well, normally it would be interpreted this way, but for this time or this person, it has this feeling to it.
You say it's an art like Temperance is.
Dun dun dun!
Full circle, baby.
Well, thank you, Magna. That was very nice. And what was the name of that rune again?
Kenaz.
Kenaz.
Kenaz. Kenaz.
So we thank you so much for being here with us for the December 2025 edition of TN Tarot video thing. We look forward to seeing you next year,
Wow.
January 2026. I've been Skaji.
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Magna.
Safe journeys.
Bye.